for Alperen. What did you kind of learn about yourself through this series, being asked to do a lot defensively and also battling with Draymond Green on the other end?
Man, learned a lot, first time playoff for me, and one of the best players being in the league long time. Just learn a lot, man. Learn the aggressiveness, defense, play both way, just try to win, try to help my teammates, but, just got to learn and move on.
Fred, I know you guys are crushed right now, but big picture, how proud are you of the young guys and the way that they handled the pressure in their first playoff series?
Yeah, I'm extremely proud of these guys. I look at all these guys like my baby brothers, except for they're not babies anymore. They grew up a lot this year and made huge strides. Incredible regular season, and just a tough way to end the season. It's always tough, but it's only one team that can win the championship. So it's a heartbreaking loss. Game 7 can go either way. Wasn't our best performance, but we're not gonna sum up the whole experience based on one night. I'm proud of everybody. Made huge strides down the list. The entire roster was key. It's one of my favorite seasons that I've been a part of, and I think that everybody should be excited, about the future and what's to come.
Fred, you have a club option on your contract for next season. Do you want and expect to be back? And could you speak about your partnership with Ime Udoka? It seems more than a normal player-coach relationship.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I know I'm a little new here, but I'm never going to speak about contract stuff publicly. I handle the business behind closed doors, but obviously I put my heart and soul into this, and this is where I want to be, and it's definitely a family situation. I got a lot of love for our coaching staff and Rafael and the Fertitta family, and just what we set out to do. When I had my free agent meeting 2 years ago, and we're on that track, and it was never a short-term vision. It was a long-term goal. So we're on track. We're on schedule. It's a tough way to lose in the season, but my mind's very far away from contract stuff right now. We'll get to that when it's time.
Fred, you played with some of the best and against some of the best. What can Jalen Green take from this playoff series to fuel him going into next season and in the future?
Yeah, just stuff to work on in the off season, fuel, motivation. Every great player has struggled at times. Every great player had to learn how to adjust and adapt. The ultimate sign of respect from the opposing team is to take him out. We saw them do that in multiple games this series. But Jalen's going to be all right. I'm not really online right now, so I keep hearing like the narratives that are going on. I haven't really seen much of it, but we're not going to make this about Jalen. You know what I mean? He had an incredible season this year. He carried us a lot, made big strides, played unbelievable basketball. And obviously, in the playoffs it's tough. You got to find ways to be effective, and I believe in him, and I know that he's going to use this summer to get even better and come back next year a better player.
I don't have your first playoff experience off the top of my head, but are those things that you could share with Jalen, that it does get better, or what are those type of things? How do you look to impart that knowledge?
I mean, everybody's journey is different, right? But I mean, I can share with him what I've seen and what I've been through. And again, it's the weight of the world seems to be on his shoulders at times with everybody else's expectations. But I mean, he played well. He played team basketball. It wasn't, we were a balanced group all year. It never really was about one guy all season. So we knew that they were going to load up on him. They did it. We played them 12 times, I think, this year. So they kind of played him the same way every game. But again, as on the path to greatness, there's going to be stumbles and shortcomings and failures. And when you don't win a championship, it feels like failure. And you use that, in your summertime as you prepare and get ready to come back a better player.
Fred, Ime really asserted himself in the second half of the series. What was the most impressive thing to you about him in his first playoff appearance?
Problem solving. Again, he's starting to problem solve in real time, starting to read defenses, starting to figure out where he can find his spots. He's such a athletic force, but I think at times you can get slowed down trying to think and overthink a little bit. So once he found his spots, he was able to get downhill, Sky's the limit for him. Obviously, he was huge for us, and coming out of the 3-1 hole and him finding that attack mode, he just adds another dynamic to our team. So super proud of him.
Fred, in post-game, Steve Kerr said you'd been a series changer and they wanted to try to stop that. I wonder from your point of view what you saw that they did differently tonight than they had to.
Yeah, I felt it tonight. Definitely stay home a little bit more, definitely show some more pressure, bring the big up a little bit higher on the screens, fighting over a little bit harder. I mean, honestly, it felt like we were 3 for 12 from 3 the whole entire game before the last 2 minutes, so we didn't even get any attempts up. You know, it was a game plan thing they did. So we got some 2s, didn't shoot great from 2, so, you know, it's hit or miss there, but it was just a numbers game tonight. I think Buddy Hield outshot us by himself from 3, so this new era is hard to compete, you know, at that level of shot making 3s more than 2 is just the way it goes. But they did a good job of taking away a lot of our looks, staying home, and forcing us to take 2s, and we just didn't convert at a high enough clip in the paint.
Hey, Alpi, what do you feel like you learned about yourself during the playoffs?
What I learned real basketball. You know, of course we had really good season, but this was different. And, you know, we just learned a lot. We learned how to play together. You know, we played the team over and over 7 times. So just trying to stay together, you know, talk every day. And, you know, it was just, you know, hard series for us. Especially, like, obviously we are upset right now, you know, but it's going to be a great off season for us. And, you know, just get better next year.
Alpi, being defended by Draymond for these last 7 games, are there little counters that you feel like that you can pick up pretty quickly to make it easier to score against really good defenders like him?
I mean, you know, obviously he's one of the best defender of all time, so it was great to play against him. But of course, you know, I have a lot to work and making all those easy shots. I just gotta be, you know, I'm gonna work a lot this off season on those shots and come back even stronger next year, and, you know, hopefully make those next year in the playoffs.
Alpi, when you and Jalen first came in, it wasn't, you know, the best of situations here with the organization, and you know what you all went through the first 2 years. What was the conversation that you and Jalen had, you know, after tonight's game? As far as I know that it's disappointing right now, but it's, you know, well far away from what you all came into.
I mean, we were talking, you know, we earned this, we earned to come here, and, you know, it was just been long journey, me and him together, and it was just happy to see us over here together, you know. It's obviously upsetting losing, but we got to learn a lot, and, you know, take this series a compliment for us, and just get better and better, and come back next year even stronger, you know. I believe in us, and we're going to come back stronger and stronger, and it's going to be different next year.
Fred, what happened that moment with you and Draymond where he knocked you down? Did he talk to you afterwards as well?
I think I hit the ball. The ball went flying. Obviously, flowed a little bit, knocked me down. But yeah, all right, man. Listen, I got a lot of love for Draymond. I know what he brings to the table. Those guys you hate to play against, but you love to play with them. So yeah, just competing. We got a good enough rapport to work that stuff out. So that was nothing.
Alpi, in the back, you talk about working in the off season and coming back stronger next year. What area in your game are you maybe wanting to focus on or to develop?
I think I improved my defensive way this season, but, you know, I got to work a lot more in my offense, I think. And I didn't have a great year with my offense, you know. I was even better last year, I would say. And I just kind of was, you know, struggling with offense, but I'm just going to focus on that and on my body, on my touch, everything, you know. And I'm going to, long summer is waiting for me, so I have a lot to do.
I mean, I know that you guys are crushed right now, but how proud are you of this team just as a whole for what you guys were able to accomplish?
Yeah, you know, that one hurts, but I'm really proud of the team. getting it back to Game 7, almost being able to win that game. Yeah.
Man, how would you sum up your season, and what's the next step for you with the summer coming up, working on your game? What are some of the things you want to key in on?
I mean, this is the furthest I ever got, so that's a step, obviously. I mean, second year. And just I want to use this motivation, feeling hurts to lose like that. Just, there's a lot to work on, obviously, and got a whole summer for it.
And what do you take away from your first playoff experience and, how the game changes in the postseason and what you can do to adjust in the future?
It's just more intense, but can't let that stop you from playing basketball. It's still basketball at the end of the day. And, yeah.
To that point, you guys had like 30-some-odd missed shots in the paint. Were they doing anything in particular to make it just really tough to finish tonight?
I think we were just missing shots. I don't think they were doing anything different today. We were just missing the easy ones we usually make.
Hey, you talk about, using this as motivation and looking to get better during the summer. In today's era of a lot of three-point shots, maybe how important is developing even the mid-range and try to maybe attack that way?
I think it's super important, I feel like I could get wherever I want, especially that mid-range area. So that's something I work on. That's something I'm happy with my steps with.
How do you look at the jump that this team took overall from last year to this year, and do you think that can be replicated from this year to next year?
Yeah, I'm proud of the team. We didn't even make playoffs last year. This year we were the 2 seed going against a bunch of Hall of Famers and came close. But, next year I feel like we'll have that experience, coming into the playoffs time. Like, we all have been there at this point. Like, a lot of our rotation guys, I think we got 3 that even ever been to the playoffs. So the rest of us are young, so we can just build off that.
One more? No? Great. Thank you.
Ime, what were the main source of the offensive issues that you guys had tonight?
Missed shots, close range shots. I think 23 for 55 in the paint. A lot of really good looks there. Didn't get up that many threes, only 18 on the night, made 6 of them, so that's a low number for the threes that we had been generating. And then the zone that they ran got us a little stagnant. But when we did find the openings in it in the middle, missed the threes that would kick out or the close range shots. And so, as I said the other night, sometimes shots go in and it masks some things, and tonight it stood out the other way.
I know it's kind of hard to look at this immediately after the season ends, but how do you view this season as a whole?
Some growth, some good, some bad. Obviously a poor ending. To play, one of our worst games in the playoffs in Game 7. We had a few bad ones early and kind of corrected ourselves from there in a lot of ways on both sides of the ball, and then to come out a little bit flat tonight. Obviously that's going to leave a sour taste in our mouth for sure, but you look at big picture, the growth that we made, we just said no moral victories and whatever. We could be much more consistent, but getting to the 2 seed and 50 whatever wins and the growth that guys have showed, kind of have a blueprint for where we want to be and the standard on a year-to-year basis. But all that doesn't really matter when you go out with a chance to move on, obviously, and advance. And like I said, kind of laying an egg in our last game. It's going to sting for a minute.
You mentioned the zone throwing y'all out of rhythm a little bit. What was it about just sort of the way they implemented their zone and how y'all attacked it?
We found it when we usually find Alperen in the middle. We get good results, whether it's kicking it out for the threes, and we had some of those, but also just the openings at the basket. And it felt like we missed a lot of point-blank shots, and the offensive rebounds, although we have 14, didn't really have a great percentage on the second chance. Only made 50% of those. And so a little bit of that. Then the other part, obviously, they had the most success against our zone for the first time in the series, and Hill got loose there. So they hurt us when we were in zone, and vice versa. We struggled against theirs.
Coach, the playoffs are obviously a different thing than the regular season, but is there anything you learned about yourself or about this team during this particular series?
You know, we can't waste opportunities. You know, you have that week of preparation while teams are in the playing and doing those things, and we have to come out a little bit sharper for sure. Feel like we had wasted opportunities in the early games. You know, you can kind of throw away game one with a poor offensive performance. Another game we didn't shoot it well, and then you win 2, and then 3 and 4, it's right there. And you have those one possession games where, like I said, it's the free throws or missed shots or small things, letting some guys get loose and hurt us. And so felt we had chances there to not even be in this position. And so the urgency to adjust on the fly and improve from game to game took us a little bit of time, and felt like obviously we got rolling in game 5, but a little bit too late to be in this position right now.
Ime, why do you think Jalen struggled so throughout the series, and what do you think or hope he can learn from the series?
You know, you have to look at it as a sign of respect the way they went after him. Obviously, a leading scorer, and their objective was to take him out of the series. And like I've said throughout the series, he gets the ball out of his hands and gets us the numbers and the advantage. He's done his job there, and you have to try to take advantage of opportunities in transition when we get stops and get out and run and kind of be more efficient as far as that. But you know, when teams want to blitz you, like I said, I always say we should welcome that and kind of pick that apart. We've seen it quite a bit this year with him, and so he's improved in that area. But you know, he didn't get a ton of shots honestly throughout the series, or when they did guard him regularly, he obviously had a big night, and then they went right back to what they were doing. And so, you know, it's going to sting for him as well, not having his best performance in the series. But at the same time, like I said, you got to take advantage of those numbers, and he did his job to get off the ball, and everybody could have played better tonight, obviously.
Ime, with Amen, what was most impressive about him during his first playoff experience, and particularly the last 4 games of this series?
Yeah, similar to some of the other young guys who, you know, were a little rattled early on. He didn't start his best in the series. I think the first two maybe 3 games, you know, a little subpar for him. And he just kept grinding, kept his head down, and got in attack mode and took off from there. And so the defensive effort, he had to, you know, exert that energy, and defense he displayed was top notch like always. But for him, he just kept attacking, never lost confidence or aggressiveness, and so. Finished on a good note. Obviously, tonight was good for him as well. Probably our most consistent guy tonight. But you know, he learned like he does on the fly, and really had a really good series after probably game 3.
Not to take anything away from the Warriors, of course, but would you say you guys beat yourselves more often than not in this series?
Yeah, at times for sure. You know, like I was mentioned, you miss free throws. That's a sign right there. You know, in a 1 possession game, you missed 12 free throws or whatever it was. You saw the numbers when we missed free throws in the 3 games that we lost early. So that part stands out. You know, open shots are open shots. You're going to make them, you're going to miss them. And I think nobody's intentionally trying to miss the shots. So we had the poor shooting nights where we played good enough defense. And so, like I said, those ones stood out, especially 2 games, game 3 and 4 in Golden State, where we really had great opportunities to come back home and really put some pressure on them. And so, those parts stand out, our offensive performance in some of those. And then tonight, not coming out our best. So, you know, they're a veteran group that switched some things up and took us out of our game plan a little bit tonight. But overall, yeah, we had opportunities throughout the series to really put pressure on them.
And you touched on it a little bit, but just all the missed shots in the paint, like 30-something. Were they doing anything in particular to make that more difficult in the paint?
No, I wouldn't say so. I think the playoffs are physical. It is what it is. You have to play through some contact and, you know, not seek fouls, go to finish. And at times I think we kind of got knocked off our spot, but we were doing the same thing as well, to them. And so, yeah, you know, you got to give it on one end and take it on the other end, and just had to be a little bit more strong with our finishes, no doubt, or find your outlets instead of shooting over a few people. But I wouldn't say anything else for today specific. They are really good at positionally coming across and helping and being in the right spots, but lack rim protection. And so you just got to, with our athletes and our size advantage, you got to just finish those easy ones.
Fred has a club option for next season. Is he a guy you want and expect back on this team next year? And can you speak to just kind of the partnership that you guys seem to have here together?
Yeah, absolutely. I think both sides want to be here and want him here. You know, from day one, as I've talked about, the importance of him, you know, at the point guard position, kind of leading us in a lot of ways and allowing guys to grow at the same time and understanding, you know, what he walked into, what he signed with, and you know, he's a huge part of our growth in general. And so, you know, love everything he's done. You know, perfect combination of on ball, off ball for our guards and our young guys to grow, and obviously love to have him back, and I think the feeling's mutual.
With the offense struggling against the zone throughout the game, wasn't any thought to play Jabari more minutes with his ability to stretch the floor and, of course, shoot over defenders?
Yeah, I mean, I think we gave everybody a shot off the bench for sure. I mean, we didn't particularly shoot it well or score well off the bench. I think we had 11 total combined, so it wasn't our best night as far as that either. I think, like I said, we were guarding well enough throughout the series, and so we like some of our matchups with keeping our men on Curry and Fred there, and so the defensive part was good. You think you get your offense going a little bit more. Like Alpie had the opportunities. I think Dylan had some really good looks, and others did as well, even guys coming off the bench. So, combination of their zone and just us having a poor shooting night obviously stands out. But Jabari or anybody, obviously didn't have the best night.
You mentioned Fred. He didn't get as many clean looks as he had been getting. What did they do differently on Fred?
Yeah, they were much more aggressive on him in the pick and roll. Obviously, he's had 2 or 3 really big games, and the attention that they showed to Jalen, they seem to do that as well. But as I always say, if he's going to make the right play, we have to, score with the numbers behind it. And I think that was the point of us missing some of the kick-out threes or rim shots. And so he got the ball to the guys, and they have to finish from there. So do your job when you get 2 on the ball. And like I said, he's going to find the outlets and just had to just score better in the paint, especially on the easy ones.
Coach, I know the mood probably wasn't, the best once you went into the locker room, but what was your overall message to them?
We had our chances in this series. We all expected to continue to be playing, obviously, and so that's a letdown. But it's going to sting now. Use it as motivation and the growth and the things we've learned and showed this year. Let's all come back better, coaches included. And so that was the message. Don't be satisfied. We had whatever amount of wins in second place and all that, but nobody cares about that right now. It's where we finished, and experience is out of the way. Everybody will take a look internally and see how we can all improve and come back better, and not settle for first round or just making the playoffs, but advance.
Ime, this is your second year with this group. You talked about the growth from year 1 to year 2. Can this team take that next step? And if so, what do you need to do in order to get there?
Yeah, I think absolutely. Took a big one this year as far as not just in the win column, but overall guys understanding. I think our biggest thing for us, experience is one thing for sure. That comes with time and being in the playoffs and things like that. I think for us, it's the IQ. Got to improve overall. Just everybody being on the same page, and that comes with experience and going through certain things. But yeah, I think we can absolutely take another jump. We have to. We can't just come back the same, and that's the message to the guys. And so a lot of, obviously, physical work to be done, guys getting stronger and growing into their bodies and all those things, but the mental side is going to be really important for us. And we got some guys that have that experience, and if we can get everybody on that same page and grow in that area, I think that's going to help us take the biggest jump.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.